Thank you for volunteering to be a PDF portfolio reviewer for Wake Tech Community College. If you've reviewed portfolios for us in the past, this process is new and hopefully improved. We appreciate you sharing constructive feedback for each of the portfolio campaigns. Reviewers no longer assign grades, which is better use of your time and expertise. Please check the timestamp in the description if you need to jump ahead to a specific section. Your expertise is essential, giving our students a realistic review of their work from a successful design professional's point of view. They value your feedback immensely, so please remember that honesty is the most important tool in your toolbox. Our students like to hear nice things about their work, but they also need to have a frank understanding of where they stand with each piece. During the interview process, it is quite likely that they'll be going toe-to-toe with four-year graduates, designers who have already been working in the field, and those trying to make a lateral move. So it's essential that they have good feedback on what's working well and why, what's not working well and why not, and some constructive criticism on how to improve. In this print-ready PDF portfolio, you'll be reviewing each campaign as well as the entire presentation itself, including graphic elements, overall branding, and copywriting. Please use this guide to help you approach your review. Your comments will be captured in the Microsoft form provided. Please fill in your details as well as the student you are reviewing. First impressions. Begin by looking over the entire PDF from beginning to end and place your feedback in section 11 of the form, Overall Impressions. The portfolio itself should contain 8 full campaign portfolio pieces. Beyond these 8 pieces, a student may have additional portfolio pieces if they do photography, illustration, or have other items they'd like you to see and consider. Only the first 8 pieces should be reviewed, but you may add your thoughts to the end of the form. Everything with the portfolio is open game for review. How is the look and feel of the portfolio as a whole? Does it seem professional? Are the colors and the fonts appropriate? In your opinion, is it missing something important? And if so, what would that be? And where should it be included? For instance, if you feel that there should be a thank you page at the end with contact information, you can suggest this directly to the student. Some reviewers will prefer to take notes during this process on paper or text programs and then transfer them over to the form. Others may prefer to type one piece in at a time as they go. Please use the system that works for you. Title each portfolio campaign and capture your constructive feedback in the field provided. If you'd prefer to record feedback for the student, either audio or video, please paste a link to that file in the field. All fields are required for this form. If a campaign is missing, please indicate that in the form field as well. The overall impressions portion is found here, near the bottom of your review form. We've placed it at the bottom so that as time goes by, if you change or adjust your opinions, you can revisit what you've said at the end of the review process. Let's look at an example. This portfolio has a cover, which is a giant logo. You might mark down whether this logo seems professional or not. Here's an alternative cover that uses a typographic treatment. Do you find this type of graphic treatment to be professional? On the interior of this portfolio, we see an illustration and a table of contents. While you may note whether you like or dislike the illustration or the photographs provided, please make sure you tell them why others may find this kind of fine art either acceptable or unacceptable. Your opinion is important, so simply be honest. Reviewing a portfolio piece. Let's look at a portfolio campaign. A campaign will involve 3 or more related design pieces or a long document. It should include a title of some kind and a description, although it's possible that someone may feel that the work speaks for itself, and that one is not provided. Every piece of graphic design that you see should forward the message of the client and be appropriate to its audience. Did the student write too much copy and you did not choose to read their description? If that's the case, be honest. Make sure to let them know. Is their description and layout of the campaign tastefully done? If it is elegant or heavy-handed, if the type is horsey or perfect, make sure to let the student know. Remember, each layout should relate to every other campaign, but it should be judged on its own. Let's begin by focusing on the craft of the piece. How is the layout of the campaign's presentation? Does it use a solid grid structure, or is it thrown together haphazardly? Are there consistent use of fonts, layouts, and design elements? Is it print-ready? Do you have blurry or pixelated images? Does it seem like they've presented a single, solid response with one idea that flows across multiple pieces, or does it seem like a collection of individual items which could be more cohesive? Be honest with a student about whether their presentation is done well or needs improvement, and what, if any, improvements they may consider. Next, let's look at the color of the actual design piece. Does each piece of the campaign relate to one another color-wise? Are there consistencies which seem to go with the brand presented? If accent colors are used, are they effective? Is material readable with enough contrast between items placed next to one another, whether they are text pieces or pieces of design? If colors are not working out, make sure to describe why they're not working out and what steps should be taken to fix them, whether through the addition of accent colors, the adjustment of branded color schemes, or whether the branded colors or color psychology is just plain wrong. One important thing to consider may be mistakes made with RGB and CMYK colors close to one another, or if an oversaturation could cause problems during the printing process. Typography is a nebulous subject at best, so your expertise will come into play here. Have a look at the typography used throughout the piece. Does it make sense? Is the font appropriate for the brand? Is it appropriate for the audience? Or is it simply unacceptable? Is this student making rookie mistakes with large, horsey typography? Are they using fonts with baggage such as Comic Sans or Papyrus? Are they using bold body copy centered type or leaving widows and orphans all over the page? Any rookie mistakes should be pointed out immediately. If there's room for improvement with font pairings, please suggest an appropriate typeface rather than simply pointing out that the typefaces don't work well together. Let's move into the composition of the pieces. How does this design campaign stand up? No one will hire a designer showing work which is below the acceptable standard. Student work should meet an acceptable workplace standard, or they will not get hired. Does this level of work meet the standard for an entry-level design position? Does this work meet the standard seen with working designers with 1 to 2 years of experience in the field, or being paid for work on a freelance basis? Is the work at or above an agency level? Have the graphics and images used shown a level of quality which could be seen in a professional context? Does it need improvement, or is it inappropriate? Have mistakes been made, or has the design been fully thought out and implemented with one idea across multiple pieces to create an acceptable and consistent design standard for the client? Has anything been left out which is obviously needed, such as a barcode, net weight, page numbers? Is there a consistent flow in the design of all pieces within the campaign? Would it seem appropriate if placed next to a competing item in a grocery store or placed in a publication? Is the information communicated in a graphic fashion which makes for easy readability and transfer of information? Does it make a connection with the viewer? And if so, what's working well? If not, what's keeping the viewer at arm's length? Is it appropriate to tell the student whether you like their work or not? Saying things like, "I don't like trade Gothic, we use it at work all the time," is something which is not relevant to client work. Whereas something like, "I really like the way you've used this blue. It feels calming and instills trust in the brand," would be appropriate. Something like, "I like the way you've added these questions in here. It really makes me think about my situation. This was lots of fun to look at," can go a long way to making a student feel happy as well as letting them know what's working out. "I just love everything that you do, so I'm not even going to talk about the things that could be better." This would never be helpful at all. Finally, after reviewing each piece and its components, give the students some feedback on their concept as a whole. Did they come up with something new and exciting in their design work? If so, let them know and tell them why, or what excited you. If instead they've come up with a pat answer which is not interesting or exciting, you should let them know and make some suggestions on either how they can spice it up or what items they might want to add in their text descriptions. A coffee shop called The Daily Grind with a bean for a logo is not going to be a high-level concept, especially if they've chosen brown as their cardinal color. Again, the important thing here is honesty. If you feel a student has great ideas and you were excited to see the next piece, based on what you've seen so far, please tell them. If you feel that the student is already ready for agency work, let them know. If you feel that the pieces are appropriate, but they should consider adding 1 or 2 into their portfolio which could really spice things up, they need to know that. Alternatively, If the portfolio piece was boring and the concept was low-hanging fruit, someone needs to tell them honestly, and that someone is you. You're only going to review the first 8 campaigns. If a student has included more campaigns, such as a piece of photography or pieces of illustration, you are not required, but if you would like to, please place that feedback in the overall design section. Resume, business card, and personal branding. Take a moment to read and review the resume, business card, and any pieces provided as personal branding. Do they relate to the portfolio? Are they professional? Are they obvious rookie mistakes such as non-professional emails, misspellings, or big errors? Do you see something which must be fixed? Are there issues with presentation and quality which could be potentially embarrassing? Does the information portrayed in the business card make sense, including title, contact information, the colors used, preservation of theme elements from the portfolio? If information is in the wrong location or the wrong order in any piece, constructive criticism is appreciated. Finishing up. You can follow these steps for each piece or use the method that works best for you. Just a reminder, you're giving us your feedback from a professional point of view. Once you've completed all campaign reviews, please revisit the overall design section again. Read what you wrote and adjust it if necessary to include feedback that you received from the campaign section. If there were inconsistencies from page to page or campaign to campaign, this is a good place to revisit those and make the student aware. If you'd like to give them any advice or links to websites to visit, or if you would merely like to make some suggestions or references for them, this is a suitable place to do so. Once you're all done, go ahead and congratulate yourself. This work is not easy, and while it only may take you 1/5 of a second to determine whether a piece is good, or if a student's really doing a good job or not, decide how to make them aware of it and assist them in understanding that is not easy. We really do appreciate your help. Take this moment to double check your work, ensure that you haven't gone above the 3,000 character cap in any section, and if you feel the need, copy anything you'd like into a document for safekeeping. Then go ahead and hit send. We would love for every reviewer to do at least 2 PDF portfolios, but we understand the commitment of your time and efforts, while essential to us, requires a great commitment on your part. We would like to thank you again, and we hope you've enjoyed this process. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us with any questions or comments you may have, and have a great day. Thank you very much again.